Hi again, everyone. Mike, back at you. Chonko Comics, Nerd Culture, and once again in the small but mighty comic room. Um, this is a video that I kind of teased in the last one. I doing a video just to show signed and mostly, other than one, graded comics and just certain things I have in my collection that some of them are really really cool. Some of them are not as cool, but I'll go through them kind of one by one here. First comic is a Fit Check. Forgot one of the all time great covers. Tomb of Terror number 15, the exploding face cover, which one of the things I never realized is Alan from Comic Book Geek, he pointed out in the exploding face there are gears. So it's actually like a robot head that is exploding it. I never really knew that. I always just thought it was some guy's head that was exploding for some reason. But yeah, maybe like a, most people would say like a top five ish pre-code horror cover. I would. Another book that I don't own that I hope to own someday. Expensive, very expensive comic. So yeah, starting off, this comic is there's a bit of speculation with this. There's a movie coming out, the Thunderbolts movie. It doesn't look great to me, but if it is great, there are a couple interesting characters. The the kind of the path that follows is this Thunderbolts becomes kind of like a new Avengers, and there's a storyline called the Dark Avengers, and so this is a Dark Avengers number one and a 9.8, and it is a sketch copy. It's a sketch of Wolverine by Alvin Lee. Now, the strange thing is that Alvin Lee never worked on the Dark Avengers. He worked on several other comics for Marvel and DC. He is the creator of a character called Agent X, who I was kind of unfamiliar with. I was doing a little research before this just to see if he had ever worked on this. He didn't. So this was probably something that was done at a convention, and somebody had him do Wolverine for some reason, who isn't in the Dark Avengers either. So I don't know why. This was in an auction and nobody was bidding on it, and I was like, well, that's like an original art by an actual comic artist on a number one of Dark Avengers. I was like, absolutely. So I bid on it and I won it, and I believe the reason nobody was bidding on it is because the artist doesn't match the title. But still cool. Still a cool cover. Next is one of those really kind of popular artists at the moment for Marvel. He's very distinctive in his style, and you usually break one of two ways with him. Some people love this artist, like maybe their favorite, and other people don't like this artist at all. I didn't like him at first, but then I realized that he's kind of I don't know if it's a ripoff or an homage to Calvin and Hobbes, but he does characters I think that are very much like Calvin and Hobbes. So yeah, this is Scotty Young, Morbius number one. Morbius has fallen out of favor in the Marvel universe because the movie was terrible, the Jared Leto feature film. But Morbius is a really cool character. He's a vampire, and classic Scotty Young. He turns him into kind of a Calvin and Hobbes toddler, where he's drinking blood out of a baby bottle on the cover, and yeah, this one is signed in a 9.4. A little disappointing that it's a 9.4, but again, another one on a Comic Link auction where nobody bid on this, and it's a signed #1 Morbius with a very, very famous artist, and I was really happy to be just like, okay, if I have to, I will take that from you. Next is, this is an old CBCS slab, so this is all very different from how it's done now. But this is classic title and a really interesting signature that I haven't seen very often. So yeah, Shogun Warriors #1, newsstand copy, but around that time of there were a lot of newsstand copies. So yeah, this was, what year was this? 1979. So a lot of newsstand copies back then. But this is signed by Jim Shooter, kind of a legend at Marvel. He one of those like builders at Marvel, I would say, like really kind of helped turn Marvel into really what it was in those years when they were just crushing it, throughout the 70s and 80s. So yeah, really cool. I haven't seen many Jim Shooter signatures. Again, only a 9.4. But yeah, I mean, a Shogun Warriors #1 with Jim Shooter. I mean, it's already like an obscure title, and one, why would you get that signed, and why would you get it graded when it's only a 9.4? I don't know, but I loved Shogun Warriors when I was a kid. I had a couple of them when I was really, really little. So yeah, I thought this was cool. Again, another thing that nobody bid on, but I just thought even Jim Shooter's signature alone was kind of cool to have. Next one, a really cool signature, and a really cool cover for a book that I'm not sure anybody ever even bought, but great characters, great cover, and one of my all-time favorite artists. So this is Sentry versus Hulk, #1. It's a Paul Jenkins story, and the artist is the legendary Bill Sienkiewicz, and both Nelson and Sienkiewicz signed this. Sienkiewicz is known for a lot of this kind of like painted type covers, a lot of like really super like impressionist looking stuff. And yeah, I thought this was really, really cool. And yet again, another thing that came up on Comic Link that nobody was bidding on. And some of these I would just put in like a token bid on the site, and no one would bid. So yeah, happy to get. I mean, a super cool cover in a 9.8 with the legendary Bill Sienkiewicz signature. I was stoked. Actually, I have this one. I display some comic books in my living room. They're more comics that are maybe not worth a lot of money. The Small But Mighty comic room is in a weird spot. It looks like a closet if you don't know what it is, and it's locked all the time. But some inexpensive books that I think are really cool, I display out there, and that's kind of what this is. It's in my living room, and conversation piece if anybody wants to talk about a kind of a cool comic. Another really cool one. Again, off of Comic Link, and again where people were not really. I think it was bidding against like maybe one person for this. But yeah, this is Batman Who Laughs #1, in a 9.8, signed by Greg Horn. This kind of weird squiggly GH is Greg Horn's. But yeah, Harley Quinn, kind of on her bed here with the Batman Who Laughs mask there. Batman Who Laughs storyline is really kind of this wild kind of alternate version of Batman Joker hybrid thing it's really cool. But also this one was this is Scott Snyder's story. Scott Snyder, who's doing Absolute Batman right now, and has done some other Batman, and where people love his writing. So yeah, I think this is really cool. This is displayed in the Small But Mighty comics room. I've got like a little Batman area where I've got a few Batman comics that are signed, which leads me to my next one. This is a more recent comic, but one of my favorite artists and another one of those artists I think when you talk to comic book people, again, one of those artists that's everyone loves, and this is Detective Comics number 1000, and it is the great Adam Hughes. Adam Hughes' signature, always the AH with the exclamation, and he always does Catwoman the best, I think, or one of the best. He's one of the best at doing Catwoman, and this one is no different. Fantastic, the classic Catwoman costume, but you know, in the kind of classic Adam Hughes way, always really expressive faces and really kind of sexier, like they'll make the female characters more like sexy versions of them. But yeah, another one. Really was happy to get that. That was something I did a pre-order from one of the shops online. I guess they sent a bunch of these in, and was able to get it at what I thought was a really good price. Then I start to get into some legend territory here. I think most people would say artists that a lot of people have been really shitting on recently, and I mean, some of his work is not. It's admittedly it's not great, but some legends should have a little bit of room. I think in their reputation, and yeah, this is Dark Knight #1, in a 9.6, and the great Frank Miller. One of my all-time favorite writers, one of my all-time favorite artists. Regardless of his current work, I think when you consider his run on Daredevil, the Dark Knight series, 300, where it was the writer, Sin City, just Holy Terror, I loved. A lot of people didn't really like it. Yeah, I mean, just yeah, Batman Year One. Just so many great Frank Miller storylines, and so much great Frank Miller art in the past. Really happy to get this. This is probably my favorite story. It's my favorite Batman story, clearly, without hesitation, and like there's not even a close number two. But maybe my favorite comic book story of all time. I remember reading this as a teenager, and I was just blown away. I thought it was just absolutely mind bending. So I'm gonna re-show this. I showed this yesterday or the day before. This is that J. Scott Campbell cover. If nobody saw it, cool sketch cover. Again, with Stan Lee in the middle and all the characters around him. The kind of great J. Scott Campbell versions of the female characters, all hugging on Stan Lee, and yeah, signed. The reason I'm re-showing this is because I have a raw book that's signed by J. Scott Campbell, and it is this. It is this Witchblade. This is a I think that this is a 1 of 100 copy of the Switchblade, and it's number 11. And yeah, there's like a certificate of authenticity on the back there. This cool 1B, what they call a virgin cover. There's no, none of the trade stuff is on there. There's no prices or anything like that. But yeah, signed in. He matched the signature to the sketch. So yeah, really cool to have this. I thought about getting this graded, but I don't think you need to. I think it's just wonderful the way it is, and it stays on the spinner rack. It's in this kind of row that I have there, and yeah, really stoked to have that. Then I think we can start to get into some what I think are bangers. Yeah, and then again we get to one of the artists that I think I said, I always when I say Frank Frazetta, everybody loves Frank Frazetta. The Another artist that I think everyone universally talks about, or when you talk about your favorite covers of all time and these things, specifically Batman and DC Horror, is the great Neil Adams. This is a House of Mystery number 179 from 1969. The cool cover. There's always like these kids on the cover. Ugh, boy, I'm really doing a bad job of this. I'm trying to work with the light a little bit here. But kids are always on the cover, and they're always like there's some kind of like ghost or you know different spooky things happening to them in this House of Mystery title. But yeah, down at the bottom here, the great Neil Adams, rest in peace. And I was able to get this on Comic Link for not a lot of money. So I was really happy to win this one. I know it's only a 7.0, but I think really what you're looking at with this is the coolness of the cover and the title and the signature of the great Neil Adams. Then we get into a couple of things that I think are really cool, like for me. So when I was a teenager, there were several titles I collected. I collected all the McFarlane Spider-Mans. I collected a lot of like weird independent stuff. That's where I really got into Tim Vigil, and from Grips and Faust later on. But anyone who knew me back then and anyone who's known me knows that my favorite comic, like over time, was always Cerebus. It's a Canadian comic published. It was done by a guy named Dave Sim. I actually have a Cerebus tattoo that I got when I was in the military. I have a lot of different Cerebus and Dave Sim kind of stuff. But one of the things I was able to get, this was something I had to bid on, and was able to outbid people. I might have overpaid, but I'm not sure. This is it is a weirdo reprint with this weird cover of Cerebus number one, and it's just called Cerebus Archive number one, signed by Dave Sim right there, and it is a Dave Sim file copy. So this came from Dave Sim's collection, and yeah, I don't know that there are any more of these. I've looked. I have not seen others. If anybody knows, if anybody's seen this before, I'm not sure if this is just really limited, but like I said, it's a Sim file copy. I'm gonna probably do a whole show on Dave Sim, and he would never come on and talk. He doesn't even. I don't even think he's ever been on the internet. He's still alive, and he was kind of excommunicated from comic books for having wrongthink. Later on, it was found out he was not a very good guy. He did some things that were really objectionable. Found out much later on, but really why he was kind of cast out from comic books was he spoke out against feminism and the feminization of comic books, and this was sacrosanct to comic book people, and he was branded a misogynist and crazy, and some of his story in Cerebus kind of touched on some of this kind of these gender issues and things, and it's a wonderful story, and it's fantastic, and it's really funny, and yeah, he really didn't do himself a lot of favors. He kind of doubled down on it and then redoubled down on it, and people just called him crazy, and yeah, don't ever listen to Dave Sim again, and nobody should ever work with him. Although some people did. Todd McFarlane kind of famously did work with him, and he did an issue of Spawn. So and I think they're still friends now. But then the last thing I have is something I got recently, and I got this from Bryce Comics, and I was really really stoked to get this. So I mentioned in I guess it was 84, 85, when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles first came out. This is way before there was a cartoon or any of that other nonsense. My friend brought a copy to school, and I thought it was fantastic. First I thought it was silly. The whole name was dumb or something. But when I looked at it, it was really cool. It was really well done in black and white, and they were like really violent and kind of funny and stuff. So this is a reprint of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, a more recent reprint, and it's this Oliver Mystery Box foil edition. And we'll see if this will show up, but it's a foil, so it's highly reflective. Let's see if I can kind of do something there. Maybe that's kind of the way, but you can kind of see the foil kind of silhouette of the Ninja Turtles, and it is signed by Kevin Eastman, one of the creators of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and kind of the guy who I think kind of kept it going. Eastman and Laird were the two, but I think Kevin Eastman is really the one who's kind of kept the Ninja Turtles thing going. I really liked this. I was really happy to get it. It's oversized, so it's like the same size as the original copies of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like #1 through #4 were these oversized, which I have got one right here. Stand by. Oh boy. This wasn't planned. Just figured I'd kind of show an original TMNT comic book. Where the hell did it go? Hey, jeez. What do you know? I swear I have it. I swear I do. See, now I'm committed to the bit, though. I can't not dig it out. I have to show it. Here. So yeah, this is an original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #4. Figured I'd mention that. That's where I started buying TMNT, was at #4. So that's my version that I bought in like 1985 at Amazing Fantasy Comics in Calumet City, Illinois. That's the video for now, and again, another 20-minute video. I appreciate everyone who's watching these. I appreciate that people are signing up. I saw 11 subscribers. I don't know if that's the same number as I had yesterday, but yeah, once again, appreciate you. Please like, comment, subscribe if you're watching this. Share it, or mention it to somebody. I'm gonna try to reach out to more people and try to get more people to watch these things. I think that's it for now. Have a great rest of your night. Cheers.